to my channel. Today I'm going to be going over the book series that I am currently in the middle of and whether or not I'm going to continue the series. When I first started my reading journey, I used to, if I started a book series, I had to finish it. But now that I'm 4 years in from first starting my book journey, I just don't see a point in finishing a series that I know I don't like. I just thought this video idea was really fun, just to see which book series I am going to continue and which ones I'm not, and what the reason for that is. So if you guys are interested in seeing which book series I'm continuing and which book series I'm not, then keep on watching. So the first book series, actually I would say like the first 3 book series I'm going to talk about are extremely obvious whether I'm continuing them or not. And the first one being the Empyrean series by Rebecca Yarros, aka Fourth Wing. This is a god tier book series for me. So whether I'm going to be continuing this book series isn't even a question, especially after Onyx Storm. So I gave Fourth Wing 6 stars. Then I read Iron Flame, and Iron Flame honestly felt like a filler book. So I was really scared and skeptical on where the book series was going to go. So then last year, I think Onyx Storm came out in January, and I didn't end up reading Onyx Storm until July, and I regret that. Well, actually I don't regret that because now it's less time that I have to wait for the 4th book, but I just couldn't believe I put off Onyx Storm for that long. And plus I'm actually surprised I didn't get spoiled at all with waiting that long, but it was so good, and I honestly am so excited to see where the series goes. I'm so worried for Cairn and Darna and all the dragons. But yeah, if you haven't heard of the Empyrean series, it's basically a book about dragons and their riders and an academy where if you don't bond with a dragon, you basically die. I'm not going to go much into Fourth Wing because it's an extremely popular book talk book. If this is the first time you're hearing about Fourth Wing, then just go do your research, and I promise you, please try the series, because I even got both of my grandmas on my mom's side and my dad's side hooked, and they read the damn thing in like a day or 2. Okay, my next book series, whether I'm going to be continuing them or not, is ACOTAR. This is another god tier series for me. There's no surprise there. This is everywhere on Book Talk. It's A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This has one of my favorite male main characters of all time, Rhysand, and of course I'm going to be continuing the book series. Sarah J. Maas has made us wait so long for ACOTAR 6. Every year I'm hopeful that she's going to give us a release date, and every year I am still waiting for that release date. So yes, I'm going to be continuing the series. That's another series that if you haven't heard of it, then what are you doing? Divine Rivals. This is a YA romantasy book, and I feel like so many people love this book, and I just did not like it. It was one of my lowest rated books of all time. I think it's because it's YA, but yeah, it's basically these 2 arch enemy typewriter news reporters. It was broadcasted to the book community as an enemies to lovers, and I felt like the romance budded really fast. Both the female main character and the male main character are enemies, and both of them have magical typewriters, and the whole time the male main character knows he's writing to the female main character, but the female main character doesn't know who she's writing to, and she ends up falling in love with whoever she's writing to through this magical typewriter, but little does she know it's the male main character that she hates. I just did not like this book. It was too YA for me. I really can't remember much about this book series. So that being said, I will not be continuing Divine Rivals, and I don't feel like it's a loss because there's only one other book after that. It's Shatter Me. Shatter Me is just a dystopian series, and everyone loves the male main character Aaron Warner, but for me, the reason why I'm probably not going to continue the series is because I felt like Aaron Warner became obsessed with the female main character way too fast, and I'm like, why is he so obsessed with her? It just didn't make sense to me, and I don't know, I just felt like no chemistry, but maybe I'll pick up the series again. The Magnolia Park series. Yes, I am going to continue the series, but I really am only interested in the Magnolia Parks books versus the Daisy Hates. Daisy Hates is fine. I just kind of found myself a little bored with the Daisy Hates books. I really am intrigued with Magnolia Parks, especially with how Magnolia Parks The Long Way Home ended. I haven't picked up Magnolia Parks Into the Dark yet because I have to read the second Daisy Hates book to get to Magnolia Parks Into the Dark, and that's why I've put off the series so long, but I will be continuing Magnolia Parks. From Blood and Ash, I really enjoyed the first 2 books of From Blood and Ash, but the third book, I'm 75% of the way done, and I DNF'd that book at 75% like 7 or 8 months ago, and I haven't picked it up. Everyone says the Flesh and Fire series is way better than From Blood and Ash, and I think one day I'm going to pick it up again and try to read the Flesh and Fire series as well as From Blood and Ash. It's just a series I feel like I have to continue to know what happens. But other than that, it went from being like a god tier prospect to I completely forgot what happened to this book. Zodiac Academy is a yes. I am on Heartless Sky, which I believe is the 7th book in Zodiac Academy. If you haven't heard of Zodiac Academy, it's a romantasy series where 2 human twins find themselves in the middle of the night being pulled away by a professor from Solaria, which Solaria is based in a Fae realm, and it turns out that the 2 human twins are actually long lost princesses of the Fae, and when Professor Orion brings them back to Solaria, they have to fight for their place on the throne again, because since everyone thought Tori and Darcy Vega had died, they made the 4 heirs, Darius, Max, Seth, and Caleb, next in line for the throne, and they don't like that because they've been trained and taught their whole lives they would be the ones taking over the throne, and they're like, who are these girls? So basically they bully Darcy and Tori, thinking that they'll leave and go back to the human realm. And yeah, it's a really fun time, honestly. It's like watching reality TV in your mind, but with vampires and fae and mermaids and unicorns, and it's just like such a good time. The only reason why I've been stuck on Heartless Sky, which is the 7th book, for so long and I haven't picked it back up is because I feel like Heartless Sky is where things start slowing down. I really miss the good old days where they were all back at Zodiac Academy, and now I feel like they're entering this big war right where Heartless Sky begins, and I'm like, oh, I don't really care. Like, I just miss the good old Zodiac Academy days where Darcy and Tori were getting bullied. So that's why I haven't picked up the series again, but I have to finish that series through. It's one of my god tier series. I just haven't finished it yet. Serpent in the Wings of Night is a maybe. It's a romantasy series, surprise, surprise, about vampires. This human competes in vampire trials because her dad is a vampire king. I give it a 4.5 stars. The novella 6, Scorched Roses, that comes after Serpent in the Wings of Night and is in the middle between Serpent in the Wings of Night and Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, I gave 5 stars. It's one of the best novellas I've ever read. Am I going to continue the series? I probably won't finish the whole entire series. I think it's called the Crowns of Nyaxia series. Only because I just don't know if I'm interested in it or not. I feel like I'm gonna finish the first 2, which can be seen as a duology, because I have already bought the Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. So I think I'm gonna finish that series, but then stop. If I really like the 2nd book, then I might finish the entire series. The Windy City series by Liz Tom Ford. This is a sports romance series. Yes, I'm gonna finish. There's 5 books in the series. Surprisingly, I didn't read the first 2. I haven't read Mile High or The Right Move. Yeah, I love Caught Up and Play Along, which is the third and fourth books in the series. They are based off of the Rhodes brothers. They are baseball players. The first one is about Kai Rhodes. He's a single dad, and then he meets the female main character, and she's a chef, and she doesn't like romance at all, but she falls in love with Kai's son. And then the fourth book in the series is Play Along, which is Isaiah Rhodes, who is Kai Rhodes' brother. Isaiah Rhodes has been in love with the team's athletic trainer, Kennedy, for the longest time. They end up meeting in Vegas together, and they ended up being fake married in Vegas. And I wasn't expecting to love that book so much because I hate the fake dating trope, but it is such a good book, and it's my favorite out of the whole entire series. Granted, I've only read 2 of the 5 books, but I feel like that's probably going to be my favorite book in the series. That being said, everyone loves The Right Move, who the male main character in that is Ryan Shea, and that is basketball. And the first book is Mile High, which is a hockey romance. And then the 5th book is another hockey romance. So I really have to read the other 3 books, but yes, I'm going to be continuing the Windy City series because it is one of my favorite series. Quicksilver, I'm not even sure what the actual series is called, but I am not going to be finishing the Quicksilver book series. I think the second one is Brimstone or something like that. I am not going to be finishing that series. I really liked the first book because I really liked the romantasy, but it felt like a ripoff of ACOTAR. And then the fantasy side of the book really wasn't piecing together. Did anyone else notice that? Because I feel like no one pointed that out. Just the fantasy didn't really make any sense. And then I was like, okay, well, book 2 is either make it or break it for the series. And then I saw everyone read it when it came out, and everyone hated it and said that the writing was horrible. And I'm like, okay, thank you, because I really liked Quicksilver up until the very last 100 pages of the book. And I was like, this book doesn't make any sense. So no, I'm not going to be finishing Quicksilver, like the series, whatever it is. The Twisted series by Anna Huang. So this is another series that I bought a long time ago when I first started my reading journey, and I bought all 4 books in a package, and I read Twisted Love. It was my worst rated book in 2023. I hate billionaire tropes, but I hate insta love, and that book had both of those things going on. And ever since I read Twisted Love, I'm like, I don't even know if I'm gonna really like the writing in Twisted Games or Twisted Hate or Twisted Lies or whatever. And I'm like, I don't want to waste my time again. But then people say, I've seen a lot of people hate on Twisted Love, but then they really love Twisted Games, which is the bodyguard trope. But I also hate the bodyguard trope. So not only do I hate the billionaire trope, I also hate the bodyguard trope. And that's the second book in the series. And I'm like, I don't know if I really want to finish this. So I have the 3 other books. Am I going to finish it because I bought the other 3? Probably yes. Do I want to? No. Caraval, this is another thing, is Caraval, I really enjoyed the first book. The first book I don't think has Jax in it, who is the main character in Once Upon a Broken Heart. I love Once Upon a Broken Heart. I already finished that series, and you get to meet Jax and know a little bit more about his background and his story in Caraval, and I think Legendary and Finale. And am I going to finish that series? I probably will, because I bought the second and third book and I really didn't hate Caraval. I thought Caraval was really good, but I couldn't really imagine Caraval great in my head for some reason, even though Stephanie Garber uses very descriptive imagery in her books. But I don't know if it would just be a waste of time for me. Finishing the Caraval series is a maybe for me. The 2 Twisted Crowns, what is that? Oh, the Shepherd King duology. You know, I started 2 Twisted Crowns and I got to page, I think, 200. Am I gonna finish it? Yeah, I probably will finish it just because I have the book. I really liked the first book, which is One Dark Window, so much better than Two Twisted Crowns. We have a really good romance story between the male main character and the female main character in the first book, which is One Dark Window, and you think you're gonna get the ending to their story, but then all of a sudden in Two Twisted Crowns there's another romance story going on, and I feel like we never really get to the original couple that we were reading about in One Dark Window. Even though I did like the second couple better in Two Twisted Crowns. I haven't finished Two Twisted Crowns yet. Am I gonna finish it? Yeah, but to be honest, the reason why I'm so hesitant to finish it is because 2 years ago I started Two Twisted Crowns, and I can't even remember for the life of me what was going on. And I don't know, I'm just like randomly in the middle of it, and I'm just awkwardly in the middle of that book, and I don't know if I'm gonna finish it or not. It's a maybe. Ice Planet Ice Planet Barbarians. You know, I picked this series up one day when I was really bored and nothing was hitting, and I was in a reading slump, and I'll give it credit for getting me out of a reading slump. This is probably one of the weirdest book series of all time that I will ever read, but it's basically about these girls who were kidnapped by aliens, and then the aliens are bad in this story. They have a UFO crash on a random ice planet, and the Ice Planet Barbarians have to take care of the girls that were kidnapped, and then they're like mates, and there's a lot going on. It's a super spicy book series. I don't know what I was thinking, but am I gonna take it off the table? No. Will I go back to it? I don't know, maybe, probably not, but I read the first 2 books, and you know what? It was a good time for me. It was a weird time, but it was a good time. Chestnut Springs spinoff, which is the Rose Hill series. Surprisingly, no. I'm not going to finish the series. One of my favorite book series of all time is the Chestnut Springs series. It's a small town cowboy romance book series between 3 brothers and their friends. And I love that book series with everything in me. But the spinoff series, which is the Rose Hill series, is a single dad romance, and I didn't like the first book because it was a billionaire trope, and I just think billionaire tropes are just so far-fetched. That's why I don't like them. And then it's kind of annoying that the whole series is a single dad romance. I read Wild Hunt? Wait, what is it? I read the second one, whatever it is. That one was a little bit better than Wild Love, which is the first book in that series. I just don't think that series is for me. It's really disappointing because the Chestnut Springs series is one of my favorite series of all time, but I will not be finishing the Rose Hill series. Bloodwing Academy series. The first book is On Wings of Blood. I just started that like 3 weeks ago. I love it. You can tell that the author loves Draco Malfoy because there's so many Draco Malfoy references in the book. Like the male main character smells like green apples and parchment paper or whatever. And if you're a Hermione stan, you would know that that's like a huge thing in that fandom, that Draco smells like parchment paper and green apples. And yeah, I love that for that reason. I'm on the second book. The book is about this Fae girl. She falls into a whole nother realm that she doesn't belong in, and it's a realm filled with vampires. And a long time ago, the dragon riders were eliminated. Maedra, who is our female main character, who is Fae from another realm, all of her characteristics match the dragon riders that were eliminated so many years ago. And so they were going to kill Maedra, but they decide on keeping her and betrothing her to Blake Jacaro, who is a prince to one of the old vampire bloodlines. And the story goes from there, and basically there are no more dragons. They're all extinct, but they keep her around just in case, and that's all I'm gonna say about that book series. But it's good. I'm on the second one. I googled it, and there's 2 more books coming out after the second one, and I'm 80% done with that book series. So right now I don't hate that book series, so yes, I am gonna finish it. The Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy. This is such a huge book talk series, and unfortunately, I'm going to say no. I'm not going to finish the Off-Campus series. The first book is The Deal. The Deal follows Hannah Wells and Garrett Graham. Garrett Graham is the popular hockey player, and Hannah Wells is the singer slash guitarist nobody. Garrett has failing grades in this one class, and Hannah is also in this class, and one day he knocks into her and sees that she was one of the only people who got an A in the class, so he desperately needs Hannah to tutor her, but Hannah's like, no, I have better things to do with my time, until he realizes that she has a crush on one of the star football players at this college. So he says in exchange for her tutoring him, he will help her date her crush, or get noticed by her crush, because the only way for her to get noticed by her crush is to start dating Garrett Graham, because it will increase her popularity. I think I've just aged out of this book series. I'm not in college anymore. I think the first book was a little bit corny in my opinion, and like, you could just see where everything was going. But I really do think that if I read this book at from the age of 15 to 20, I would have really enjoyed this book series. But I feel like I've just read better book series than the Off-Campus series. And plus, they are coming out with the show on Amazon Prime, and so I'll just watch the show and know what happens with the rest of the series. Boys of Tommen series. Of course, I'm gonna finish the Boys of Tommen series. This is also a God tier series for me. This is one of the best series of all time. It's a romance series, and it will crush you, it will destroy you. I don't even know like what to say about this series, but yeah, you have Binding 13, Keeping 13, which focuses on Shannon and Johnny. You have Saving 6, Redeeming 6, which focuses on Joey Lynch and Eva. Then you have Taming 7, which is Gibson's book, and Releasing 10, which is about Huey and Lizzie. All 6 of these books are soul crushing. They are so good. I don't want to say much. The first book focuses on Shannon. She's a depressed girl who's been bullied her whole entire life, and then she has to change schools, and Johnny is the famous rugby player at this school, and he hits her on the first day of school with his rugby ball, and it all goes from there. And it sounds so stupid, but it is seriously one of the best series I've read. Somehow the author, Chloe Walsh, makes you feel like these characters are real. I was so skeptical to read this book series because everyone loves it, and I mean like everyone who reads it loves it, but I was so skeptical because I'm like, there's just no way. I genuinely get sad when it's the anniversary of Johnny and Shannon meeting, because you literally feel like these people are real, and you're like, oh my god, they met like 25 years ago, and you're just like, oh my god. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, it really truly is worth your time, and I truly would read the Boys of Tommen series if you haven't already. Crescent City, which is the 3rd series that Sarah J Maas wrote. If I'm gonna finish ACOTAR, of course I'm gonna finish Crescent City. I'm gonna hurry up with these because my camera's about to die. So Dire Bound, yes, that's another romantasy series that I will be continuing. The Wolf King, yes, that is another romantasy series that I will be continuing. The DC Star series is yes, I probably will come back to it at some point. That is a hockey romance series. I've only read Hat Trick, which is about one of the hockey players on the team gets into a car accident and has to have his leg amputated, so the only thing he's known his whole life is hockey, and of course you becoming an amputee when you're a star hockey player in the NHL, you can't really skate again, and he has his athletic trainer that he's always had a crush on help him out, and it was a really good book. And that's the only one that I've read in this DC Stars series, but I will probably come back to that. And then the New York Thunder series, I've read The Best Kept Secret, and that was just a fun time. The New York Thunder series is another hockey romance series, and I remember there was a side character in Best Kept Secret, and the next book was going to be his story. And I do want to come back to that series. Do I remember the characters in it? No, not really. Do I remember that it was a fun time? Yes. So with that being said, those are the book series and whether or not I'm going to be continuing them. If you guys liked this video, then please give it a thumbs up and be sure to comment down below what your favorite book series is. I make book content every single week, so be sure to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!